Hello, I'm Natalie Kenway and I'm joined by Peter Michaelis, Head of Sustainable Investment at Liontrust Asset Management for this interview today. Thanks so much for your time today, Peter. Great to have you here. You've mentioned in a note that you're more excited about the prospects for sustainable investment than you've been for some time. Can you elaborate on why that is?
Yeah, thanks, Natalie, for inviting me here. I guess I'm always excited about the prospects for sustainable investment, but I guess after a year like 2022, where we saw underperformance of a lot of sustainable investment strategies, I am very confident in the future prospects for those strategies. And really, we've been running strategies for more than 20 years now, and that sort of experience allows us to kind of have the perspective that gives us that confidence. And really what drives the performance is the strength of the underlying sustainable investment themes. And these themes are based around the idea that the world evolves to become cleaner, healthier, and safer. And so companies linked to those themes actually see stronger growth into the future. Now, 2022, in that year, if we look just at what the themes did, were the themes strengthened or weakened in that year, I think it's very clear they strengthened markedly. So just thinking about energy, yes. With the rise in energy prices, the war in Ukraine, the evidence that security of supply is essential and that renewables can provide that, means that whole theme has strengthened. And you align with that the sort of things like the US Inflation Reduction Act, which is $370 billion earmarked for clean tech. And you can see why we have so much confidence in that particular theme.
Okay, fantastic. And can you talk a bit about some of the newer themes that have been introduced on the funds recently?
Yeah. I mean, the themes don't change that much. We have our 20 themes, and it's more if we find different opportunities in the companies that we invest behind. And I'd point to a few. I think there's been a real move in the whole idea of moving to a circular materials economy. So the idea that we move from an economy which is take, make, and chuck in a landfill, but to one which is much more circular in its use. And a couple of companies there. So we have an investment in Ashted, which does capital equipment rental.
Okay.
And the idea is that if it rents a piece of equipment, it saves 10 pieces of that equipment being directly owned. Another company, Advanced Drainage Solutions, which they make plastic pipes, which might not seem very exciting, but 50% of those pipes are recycled plastic.
Okay.
And they're using, I think it's about 25% of all the recycled plastic of that particular grade in the US. So really great signs of how a circular materials economy is evolving.
Yeah.
In addition, I'd point to the sort of fantastic prospects we believe there are around innovation in medicine. So the ability to treat previously unmet medical conditions with gene therapies that are coming through, and we're seeing that in companies like Oxford Biomedica, Illumina, which does the gene sequencing. And the gene sequencing is the most amazing story because the first gene that was sequenced cost sort of $400 million. And now you or I could get our own gene sequence for $500. So it's almost like a millionfold improvement in that. And that opens up whole new ways of diagnosing diseases and treating diseases. And we saw that with evidence of the speed which COVID vaccines were produced.
Okay, thank you for talking through those. And we're in sort of some challenging market conditions now. You mentioned earlier about what we saw in 2022 and sort of a bit of a hangover from that, I guess, now. What's your sort of general market outlook?
Well, we look at the companies we own, and actually from a kind of financial perspective, those companies have been delivering. So we have confidence in their prospects. And then when you put that against a sort of more sluggish general economic backdrop, which I think everyone agrees on, then those few companies which can demonstrate growth because they're developing treatments for new diseases or zero carbon sort of technologies, or they're helping secure our world online, for instance, they're growing independent of what's actually happening in the economy. So those are the sort of perfect companies we look at. So we think that growth prospects are still strong while they deliver this cleaner, healthier, safer world. But what has changed is the valuations, the price you have to pay to buy the shares in those companies has come down dramatically over the last year. And that's why we look over 5 years for our investments. On a 5-year view, we have great confidence in the future.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time today. It was really great speaking to you.
Thanks.